Very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to China is our top focus this Saturday morning. We'll get you all the updates in the next half an hour. Let us start with the headlines. Qingdao Summit will mark a new beginning for India's engagement with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, says Prime Minister Modi. Prime Minister to reach China in the afternoon, talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping today. Home Minister Rajnath Singh asserts that the battle with Maoists is in its last legs, says that security of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the top priority of the government. Dismisses a left-wing extremist plot to assassinate Prime Minister as a hollow threat. Dhanush, India's first indigenous long-range artillery gun, clears the final test at Pokhran, ready for induction into the army after performing well under severe weather conditions. Mumbai bracing for a wet weekend as monsoon all set to make a landing today. Met Department has forecast extremely heavy rain. Civic body cancel leaves of all senior officials. Monsoon rains to continue pace in Karnataka and Kerala for the next 4 days. And Donald Trump says Russia should be reinstated in the group of leading industrialized nations. Demand likely to trigger friction in the already fraught G7 summit as other member nations want Russia to be penalized with expulsion for annexing Crimea. Our top story this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will arrive in China today for a 2-day visit to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, or the SCO Summit. Now, the summit is being held in the eastern Chinese port city of Qingdao. The 2-day summit seeks to explore concrete ways to bolster cooperation in the fight against terrorism, extremism and radicalization, besides deliberating on pressing global issues. Now, Prime Minister Modi is likely to articulate India's position on dealing with major challenges facing the world, including ways to tackle terrorism and boosting trade and investment in the region. Now, this is the first SCO summit where India will be participating as a full member after its induction into the organization last year. Ahead of the visit, the Prime Minister, in a Facebook post, said that India's interaction with the SCO nations has increased since it became a full member. He also said that India enjoys deep ties with the SCO nations and will hold meetings and share views with the heads of states of many SCO member states. All right, my colleague Vishal is in China. He's tracking all those developments very closely. A very good morning, Vishal. Prime Minister Modi is going to arrive in China today for the SCO summit, and this is very significant because after becoming a full member of the SCO organization, India is participating for the first time. What all can we expect from the SCO summit today and tomorrow, and also Prime Minister Modi's meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping?
Good morning, Aishwarya. It's quite an hectic activities day in Qingdao here because all the heads of the states have been arriving one by one. A few of them have already arrived, and Prime Minister Modi will be touching down in Qingdao at around 3:50 local time in the second half of the day. So that would be the time when a Prime Minister will arrive, and after that there are 2-3 important engagements for today, including his one-on-one meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. In addition to that, he will be meeting the President of Uzbekistan and Tajikistan as well. As far as the summit is concerned, Aishwarya, summit day is tomorrow. That's the 10th of June. That is the day when all heads of states of all the participating nations, including the observer states and dialogue partners as well, will sit together and we'll discuss issues which are there on the agenda. Now, the agenda for this particular meet has three important elements. The topmost amongst them is the issue of terror and the regional security. All nations, including India, would be looking forward to that Qingdao outline, which would be, adopted at this summit at the end of it, and that focus will be on the issue of terror. Apart from that, obviously, since all these nations are neighbor states with one another, specifically some of them from the Central Asia, so the focus will be more on enhancing cooperation between all these nations, and the means used will be people-to-people contact, connectivity, as well as trade and economic cooperation between all these nations. So clearly those will be the agendas, but then most to watch out for element will be the issue of terror.
Absolutely. And, as far as meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping is concerned, Vishal, this is going to be the two leaders' first meeting after their informal summit in Wuhan that we saw. So it is going to be very interesting as to how these leaders take that informal summit, the takeaways forward in this meeting.
Well, yes, definitely. This would be the second time in almost 40 to 45 days that both the leaders will be meeting once again. The informal summit in Wuhan was the high point of that relations between India and China, where we saw both the heads of the state, having that informal dialogue and trying to find ways to carry India-China relationship to the next level. Now, this is where both the leaders will get some time from their busy schedule to try and take forward the dialogue on several aspects which began in Wuhan. Now, there would be a lot of focus, what we are being told, and what we can understand from the kind of statements which have been coming in both from the Indian officials as well as the Chinese officials here, is that the focus will be on enhancing economic cooperation between both the nations, and also cultural cooperation as well. These, incidentally, are the two important aspects of discussion at the summit as well. So what we're expecting is that in the bilateral as well between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping, there would be extensive talks on how the cooperation can be enhanced further between both the nations on the economic front as well as the cultural front. And then let's not forget the issue of regional security and terror as well, though this would be the topmost on the SCO summit agenda. But we are hoping that both the leaders will also have some discussion on this when they meet later today evening.
All right. Thank you so much, Vishal, for all those updates there from China. We'll keep coming back to you for all the updates there on Prime Minister Modi's two-day visit to China. Thank you so much. And for India, the major focus at the SCO summit will be connectivity and terrorism. It will focus on increasing access to Afghanistan through Pakistan, besides using the opportunity to push the fight against terrorism. Take a look at this report.
The focus of SCO summit will be on regional security challenges with a significant outcome document on counter-terrorism. Apart from this, issues like connectivity, economic cooperation and people-to-people exchanges will also be part of the discussion.
As a regional grouping, the main focus of the SCO is to ensure regional security and connectivity of Central Asian countries with the rest of the member countries. They are also expected to discuss the situation arising out of US sanctions against Iran and the Belt and Road Initiative. Members are also expected to hold talks on the issue of Korean Peninsula ahead of the summit between US President Donald Trump and North Korean President Kim Jong-un.
Sanctions that have been imposed by the United States on Russia, on Iran and on North Korea, those sanctions will also come up for discussion. The situation in North Korea, in the North Korean Peninsula, that will also be an issue that will be discussed. What is happening, I think, as far as the West Asia is concerned, what is happening in Syria, what is happening as far as the nuclear deal, Iranian nuclear deal is concerned.
For India, the major focus will be on connectivity and terrorism. India would focus on forging connectivity from India to Afghanistan through Pakistan. India will also use the opportunity to push the fight against terrorism.
This will be the first SCO summit after India became a member in June 2017. Among other issues, the summit is expected to focus on opportunities for cooperation among SCO members and the situation in the region.
It gives an opportunity for India to work together with other major powers of the region, Eurasian region, primarily Russia and China, and then with our friends like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, to make sure that the extremism, the religious fundamentalism, which is plaguing West Asia, which is plaguing Pakistan, which is plaguing so many other countries, is contained, is controlled in the Eurasian region.
On the 9th of June, Prime Minister Modi will meet host Chinese President Xi Jinping, besides having short meetings with all heads of governments of all member countries. Such meetings are normally organized for a quick review of bilateral relations and also set the direction of deliberation of the SCO summit. The Prime Minister will also address the plenary session and take part in a restricted session of the summit.
Prime Minister's programming Qingdao includes participation in the welcome banquet hosted by the Chinese President Xi Jinping in the evening of 9th June 2018. The main day of the SCO summit is 10th June. Prime Minister will attend the SCO heads of states meeting in both the restricted as well as the extended formats. In addition, bilateral meetings of Prime Minister are planned on the sidelines of the summit. The SCO summit is a forum which enables India to engage with the countries of Central Asia.
The meeting with the Pakistani president is not on the agenda of Prime Minister Modi, despite the fact that Pakistan is the latest entrant at the summit with India. All members will sign a common declaration and agreement on the 10th of June at the end of the summit.
टेरर ज़रूर एक बड़ा हिस्सा होगा इसमें, और जो छिंगताओ से सबसे महत्वपूर्ण जो डॉक्यूमेंट निकलेगा इस समिट से, उसको छिंगताओ डिक्लेरेशन का नाम दिया जाएगा. तो छिंगताओ डिक्लेरेशन में मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि काउंटर टेररिज्म के ऊपर, टेररिज्म के मुद्दे के ऊपर कुछ ना कुछ टिप्पणी ज़रूर होगी.
The SCO summit comes in the backdrop of a trade war between China and the US, fresh sanctions against Russia, and the cancellation of a nuclear deal between US and Iran. India will raise the issue of multipolarity and reforms in the UN system, also the scope of political unanimity among the member countries. It will be interesting to see how China responds to the situations in the region, especially on the issues of terrorism and balance of power.
SCO summit is taking place at a time when Malabar exercise is going on. India, Australia, Japan and America are talking in the form of Quad, and Pakistan has entered in the SCO summit for the first time as full member. It will be interesting to see that how India pushes forward the issue of terrorism and also how India-China relationship is being redefined. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Television with camera person Dusmanta in Delhi.
On to some other news. On the second day of his two-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir, Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh reviewed the security situation in the state on Friday, and he assured the forces that they will be joined by reinforcements in the days to come. The Home Minister said that taking cognizance of repeated heavy shelling by Pakistan, the government will deploy 9 new battalions. Out of these, 2 will be deployed in sensitive areas, and 60% reservation will be given to people from border areas of Jammu and Kashmir in 5 battalions. He also assured that the army will have 5 new bulletproof ambulances in the state. Singh also reiterated the MHA's scheme of giving 5 lakh rupees to the kin of those killed during cross-border firing and ceasefire violations. He said that the amount will now be directly credited to the account of next of kin, and all conditions relating to fixed deposit will be removed. Earlier, the Home Minister visited the frontier district of Kupwara and interacted with the residents in the border areas. He also visited the district police lines and paid tributes to the martyrs of Jammu and Kashmir Police Force.
76,000 या 1 लाख रुपया कोई कैजुअलिटी होती थी तो उनको मिलती थी. अब वो भी फिक्स डिपॉजिट किया जाता था 3 साल के लिए, या क्या है 3 साल के लिए फिक्स डिपॉजिट, और उसका उपयोग करना चाहें तो 3 साल के अंदर वो नहीं कर सकते. लेकिन अब यह फैसला किया है कि जो भी कैजुअलिटीज होंगी तो उनके परिवार के सदस्यों को 5 लाख रुपए की धनराशि मुहैया कराई जाएगी। फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट की शर्त हमने समाप्त कर दी है, सीधे उनके बैंक अकाउंट में पैसा जाएगा।
And on to the other top story. After the Pune police reportedly revealed an alleged plot by the Maoists to assassinate Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a Rajiv Gandhi type incident, Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the Maoists are fighting a losing battle. Now, responding to reports, Singh said that the government is very cautious about the security of the Prime Minister. Now, asserting that the Maoist threat has considerably reduced in the country, he added that out of the 135 districts affected by Maoist violence, only 10 districts remained worst hit. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and the state police had revealed the Maoist plan similar to former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's assassination. Fadnavis said that the state police seized internal communication from a Maoist commander to his cadres, revealing the plot from a group of 5 people arrested by the Pune police on Wednesday.
वैसे हम लोग अपने प्राइम मिनिस्टर के सिक्योरिटी को लेकर बराबर गंभीर रहते हैं, और माओइस्ट का जहां तक सवाल है, उनके बारे में मैं कहना चाहूंगा, इस समय हारी हुई लड़ाई वो लड़ रहे हैं। माओ एक्सट्रीमिज्म, माओवादी उग्रवाद अब काफी कम हो चुका है।
एक इंटरनल कम्युनिकेशन ये भी प्राप्त हुआ है जिसमें एक कमांडर ने दूसरे उनके व्यक्ति को लिखा हुआ वो पत्र है, जिसमें पूरा प्लान जिस प्रकार से श्री राजीव गांधी जी की हत्या हुई थी, उसी प्रकार से उसी मॉड्यूल में मोदी जी की भी हत्या किस प्रकार से की जाए, इस प्रकार के प्लान को उसमें शेयर किया गया है।
Meanwhile, several union ministers also voiced their concern over the alleged threat to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Union Minister Arun Jaitley has allegedly blamed some political parties for using Maoists as their instrument in the anti-NDA cause. Also, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad termed the reports as deeply disturbing and said that Maoists never believe in democracy and respect for constitutional norms are alien to them. On to some other news, Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the government is working on a mass deportation of Rohingyas residing in different parts of the country, including in Kashmir. In this regard, the government has issued a written advisory to the states asking them to identify and get the records of the Rohingya community staying in India, including their biometric data and other details. He added that after compiling the data, the issue will be handed over to the Ministry of External Affairs that will then conduct talks with the Myanmar government to initiate Rohingya deportation. Currently, there are around 40,000 Rohingyas in our country.
अपने मंत्रालय से हम लोगों ने सभी राज्य सरकारों को ये लिखा है कि यदि आपके राज्य में कहीं पर रोहिंग्या रह रहे हैं तो उनको आइडेंटिफाई किया जाए, उनकी बायोमेट्रिक ली जाए और साथ ही साथ उनका सर्वे भी किया जाए। कितनी संख्या में वहां पर रोहिंग्यास हैं, इसकी जानकारी जो है केंद्र सरकार को भी उपलब्ध कराई जाए। और साथ ही एक प्रिकॉशन लेने के लिए और कहा है, कोई ऐसा डॉक्यूमेंट उन्हें नहीं दिया जाना चाहिए जिसे वह भविष्य में सिटीजनशिप के बारे में क्लेम कर सके।
And India's first indigenous long-range artillery gun, Dhanush, has passed its final test at Pokhran on Friday, paving the way for its induction into the Indian Army. The guns passed the tests under severe cold conditions in Sikkim and Leh, and in hot and humid weather in Balasore in Odisha, Babina in Jhansi, and in the deserts of Pokhran in Rajasthan. Dhanush, also known as the Desi Bofors, is a 155 into 45 millimeters caliber artillery gun and has a strike range of 38 kilometers. Now, 81% of its components are indigenously sourced, which would be scaled up to 90% by 2019. It has features like electronic gun laying and sighting systems. Under an agreement to be inked soon, a total of 414 Dhanush guns would be supplied to the army. The One Nation, One Tax, the GST regime, will complete its 1 year of existence in a couple of weeks on 1st of July. Now, one of the fears about the tax globally is its potentially inflationary pressure. But in India, the impact of GST on prices has been negligible on goods, particularly in the FMCG sector. Here is a report.
The goods and services tax is expected to bring down prices in the long run. But even in the short run, the government is taking various measures to curtail inflationary pressures. Nearly 50% of the goods fall under the 18% tax rate. In the earlier indirect tax regime, for many items, excise duty and state VAT and all other taxes added up to more than 25%. The government has also introduced an anti-profiteering law to ensure that the benefit due to a reduction in tax is passed on to the consumers.
In pre-GST era, excise duty charged by a manufacturer credit was not available to a VAT dealer, or VAT dealer charging VAT, but he was not in a position to take service tax credit. So what happened? This cascading has gone away in GST. So this cascading gone, creating positive impact in the pricing. For that reason, prices has not gone up.
Many items are not yet covered by the GST. Portable alcohol, crude oil, natural gas, diesel, petrol and electricity are currently out of GST. The GST Council is also making efforts to develop a consensus among states to bring petrol and diesel under the GST that could further ease inflation. The GST Council could consider bringing natural gas within the purview of goods and services tax in its next meeting.
Despite the low turnover in April, you see the collection is 94,000 crores. Which is above 6,000 crore above the normal limit, right? So it means the compliance rate is increasing. Compliance rating is increasing. It means the further rate will come down now.
The World Bank has forecast a growth rate of 7.3% for India this year and 7.5% for the next 2 years, making it the fastest growing country among major emerging economies. The multilateral institution also expects GST to benefit economic activity and fiscal sustainability of India.
Australia and Malaysia had to take steps to curb the inflationary pressures after the introduction of GST. But in India, the GST Council ensured that the effective tax rates do not pinch the consumers. In fact, most of the items of mass consumption were taxed at a lower rate than the pre-GST era, and most of the essential food items were exempted. Reporting from Delhi, with camera person Prashanta, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
News from Karnataka now. Well, 2 days after Kumaraswamy government's expansion in the state, tussle over portfolios continues in the state. Now, Karnataka Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy himself stepped in to pacify the disgruntled MLAs of Allied Congress who were unhappy with the cabinet expansion. He went to meet Congress MLA M.B. Patil in an attempt to soothe the flaring tempers. He also asked the Congress's central leadership to act immediately to find a solution. Patil, however, said that it was an internal matter of the Congress party and Kumaraswamy cannot do anything in this issue. He said that 15 to 20 MLAs will decide together on the course of action. Now, supporters of several Karnataka Congress MLAs who were dissatisfied with the allocations also held a protest outside the party office in Bengaluru yesterday. The development comes a day after several MLAs had separate meetings in the city over the matter. And rejecting the allegations of Congress's claims of bogus voters in Madhya Pradesh, the Election Commission on Friday ruled out any irregularities in the electoral rolls in the state. The Election Commission said that the Congress's allegations of over 60 lakh fake voters in the state do not hold. Congress had, remember, claimed that there were 60 lakh voters deliberately registered in the voters list of the state. The Election Commission teams had visited various constituencies including Narela, Bhojpur, Sion Malwa and Hoshangabad assembly seats to investigate the allegations. News from Kerala, where the state Congress has decided to field its leader Jose K. Mani as the candidate of the Congress-led United Democratic Front for the Rajya Sabha election. The decision to nominate Mani for the Rajya Sabha seat came after KCM announced its decision to return to the Congress-led UDF fold earlier in the day. The CPIM in Kerala also nominated a senior leader and former Minister E. Karim as its candidate from the state for the upcoming election. Meanwhile, the LDF has decided to share one seat each between lead partner CPIM and the front's second biggest partner CPI. CPI has fielded former State Minister Binoy Viswam as its candidate. 3 Rajya Sabha seats from Kerala are falling vacant this month on 1st of July. Those retiring candidates include Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairperson and Senior Congress Leader PJ Kurian, CP Narayanan of the CPIM and Joy Abraham of the Kerala Congress. Elections for 3 Rajya Sabha Kerala seats is slated for 21st of June. And Air India has invited bids for its 1,000 crore rupees short-term loan from financial institutions and banks to meet its urgent working capital requirements. The national passenger carrier, which recently failed to get any bidder for its disinvestment plan, has called for financial bid by 13th of June for the tenure of 1 year. The government had approved a strategic disinvestment for Air India last June, but it had announced in the month of May that it received no initial bids for the proposed stake sale. Let's get to all the weather updates. Well, Mumbai is all set to receive heavy rainfall today as the southwest monsoon reaches the city today. The Met Department has predicted increased rainfall activity in entire Mumbai starting today till 12th of June. Now, several areas in Mumbai have already received heavy rains with the onset of pre-monsoon showers. The regional Met Centre of Mumbai has advised people to remain indoors. The BMC has also cancelled the leaves of all its senior officials to prepare for any emergency. Heavy rains have also been forecast for coastal Karnataka, Goa and south of Maharashtra. The thunderstorm accompanied with the gusty winds and lightning are also likely at isolated places over Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab and UP, according to the Met officials. However, heatwave conditions continue to prevail in north of the country. 5 people were killed in Uttar Pradesh and 2 in Odisha due to lightning strikes yesterday. The maximum temperature in the national capital was recorded at 40.5 degrees Celsius. And heatwave conditions are very likely at 1 or 2 pockets over western Rajasthan, as Churu recorded a highest temperature of 45.5 degrees Celsius. So let us take a look at all the weather updates and heatwave conditions from across the country. Our top international focus now. US President Donald Trump has said that Russia should be reinstated to a leading group of industrialized nations as he is taking part this weekend in the G7 summit in Canada. However, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said that the EU members attending the summit all agreed that it should not happen. Remember, Russia was suspended from the group, which was earlier known as the G8 in 2014, after the majority of member countries allied against Russia's annexation of Crimea, which Russia continues to hold. However, Donald Trump's statement has further laid bare the divisions between Trump and other leaders of the G7 nations in Canada. Frictions over trade tariffs recently imposed by the Donald Trump administration are already overshadowing the summit. Canada called Trump's trade tariffs as illegal, while European Council President Donald Tusk warned that Donald Trump's stance on trade, climate change and Iran constituted a real danger. Let's get you all the sporting action. News from Roland Garros, where top seed Romanian Simona Halep will take on world number 10 seed Sloane Stephens in the women's final today. Halep will play for her first Grand Slam win against American Stephens, who is looking to win her second major title after winning the US Open last year. Speaking about the men's singles, the 10-time champion Rafael Nadal reached his 11th French Open final on Friday, beating Juan Martin del Potro in 6 sets. And Nadal will take on Austrian player Dominic Thiem. Now, this will be Dominic Thiem's first Grand Slam title, but the match will make for an interesting match as 7-seed Thiem is the only man to beat Nadal on clay in the last 2 seasons, in Madrid this year and also in Rome last year. And that's it from me and my team in this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks so much for watching.